I'm really excited here to have you today, Jeremiah. Kind of tell me
Yeah.
about how you started off in the drone world.
Yeah, definitely. I think like most pilots, I started out doing videography and photography. Quickly started to realize that there was more out there, and I started to make my way into data and analytics. And one of the biggest industries where I live in Palm Desert, California, is agriculture, date farms. So I started to utilize drones for crop health management and be able to provide data to farmers. So that's how I started out getting into the mapping phase of these of drone aerial data, and then I ended up moving up to some of the more complex stuff like lidar, and came on full time with Flyguys, and was the first internal pilot. And essentially, I was on the road for 3 weeks, and then I was off a week. But for those 3 weeks, I was flying drones and capturing data every day, back to back, all across the United States. That was for 3 years, and then I moved on to manage the pilot experience department.
That's awesome. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit more specifically about Flyguys, like what you guys do
Yeah.
there, because it's super interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So we are a marketplace for reality data capture. So we have two sides of the market. We have our clients and customers that are looking for data. So it could be anyone that's looking for a 2D orthomosaic map, 3D maps, LiDAR, or bathymetrics. It goes all the way up to bathymetrics. But essentially, our clients come to us with their needs, and then we find a remote pilot in our network that has the capabilities and is within a 30-mile radius to be able to capture that data. So essentially, one example is our customers would say, "Hey, I need a 2D map of this area." So we'll look for a pilot in our network. We have about 17,000 drone pilots in our network all across the United States. And we find a pilot with the right equipment that's in the area, and we will send them an invite to accept this mission. And we have mission coordinators, and we assign a mission coordinator to every job. So once the pilot accepts it, we might even send it out to two or three pilots. Whoever accepts it and is the best fit, we will pair them with the job. We will oversee the mission and coordinate the mission. And once the pilot is on site capturing the data, they will come to our website, our portal. We have a portal for the pilots, completely free. They can sign up, and that's how they enter into our system. But they would upload that data into the portal, raw data, and then we would process it and deliver it. Or in some cases, some clients want the raw data and they will process it themselves. But that's essentially how we work.
Okay. So are you actively looking for pilots right now? And what would be kind
Yeah,
of the
so
requirements for that? Tell us
yeah,
about like, what
definitely.
you'd be looking
So
for.
yeah, so it's very regional. So we have for example, we have some pretty large portfolios. We have some portfolios that are 1,000 sites across the United States, and our biggest portfolio, 5,500 sites across the United States. So essentially, when those pilots are put on these missions, it could tie up the network, and essentially we might be looking for more remote pilots in the area. So it's all on a contract basis. It's all it's all, I think it's 1099. I get them mixed up sometimes.
Hmm.
But you would sign up in the portal, and then we would assign you as a remote pilot to these jobs. But yeah, we have a lot of work in, I mean, really across the United States. And we're essentially looking for more remote pilots, anyone that's looking into getting into this space and this industry. And, if you have a drone, you can sign up in the portal for free. And when work comes up in your area, we would assign it to you.
Okay. We have a question, so I'm gonna let him kind of ask that. Timothy.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, Jeremiah?
Hey,
It was
Timothy.
kind of in the same realm as what Haley just asked was, are you looking for pilots? Are you looking for mission coordinators? Like, what roles are you looking for? And then, like, I know you said that the pilots are more 1099, so individual, whether it's a 2-day thing, 3-day thing, whatever it might be. But what would you say the average daily rate is? So, like, if they're working a week, are they, making $500 a day? Are they making like 20 an hour type thing?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So we do hire internally, and we're growing at a very rapid rate. Like I said, we have these large portfolios, and just as much as we need pilots, sometimes we need more mission coordinators and other individuals. So there are other opportunities that I'm looking at exploring internally for new positions that could be coming up. And of course, Seven Eagle is on my radar for when those things pop up. So that's the one side of it. The other side is the network pilots and getting signed up in that sense. So in that sense, if you have a drone, again, if you have a drone, you can sign up, but the pay can differ. It could be on most of the time we pay on a per mission, per site basis. So for example, we could have a mission that is a 1 hour capture or an hour and a half, and that could pay out anywhere from $75 to $150. Sometimes even more depending on the complexity of the site. But it's on a per site basis for the most part. And in some cases, I think the most enticing part about some of these is reoccurring flights. So we could have weekly or bi-weekly flights of the same site. So that could be reoccurring work, reoccurring payments for that one site. So that could be, $150 a week, every week or bi-weekly. And if it's multiple sites, a lot of the times we assign multiple sites to the same remote pilot. So that could be 3 to 4 to 5 sites that they're flying bi-weekly, sometimes even more. Sometimes it gets up to 20. But that's kind of like more of the less complex sites, but there's stuff like LiDAR, which is more complex, requires a bit of
Yeah.
surveying and ground capture, as well as the aerial capture. That could go anywhere from 800 to $1,000 a day.
All right, so, sounds good. So someone that has a background of doing surveys and using some UAVs to do surveys as well in the military might be a good fit. I don't have the equipment, as my own. I use the military's, but I'm
Yeah.
familiar.
Oh, 100%. We're in a pivotal stage of the industry where drone pilots are having to evolve from being just a drone pilot to also having some knowledge in GIS. So this is kind of the way it went. We went from capturing stunning videos and photos to creating maps. Successfully creating maps is easier than ever with the advancements in technology right now. We have enterprise drones that have wider angle lenses and are less prone to image capture issues. So creating a 2D map is easier than ever. Now we're in the era of accuracy. So how accurate can you make that map in terms of global accuracy? So from a GPS, we can be off, anywhere from 2 to 5 feet from the real world, where now we're able to apply that ground capture and GNS receivers to be able to make it within within centimeter level accuracy. So now we're in that era of being able to, try to evolve drone pilots to these basic surveyors and be able to understand, the basics of capturing that data and aligning it with the drone data. So yeah, if you have that knowledge, that could go a long way in this industry.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely.
Thanks, Tim. Robert, what's up?
Yeah, my question is kind of along the lines of cybersecurity. Have you guys noticed any kind of like, I don't know, issues with drones losing signal or getting jammed in certain areas? And what kind of like protections do you guys see that are like necessary for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, right now we don't have too much experience with that. The equipment has come a very long way in the past decade. We've come from very, very like simple systems that relied on very simple um, like workflows, but now we have some very advanced equipment that uses, satellites out in space and, has these security measures that we don't worry about as much. But there are certain things that we are keeping an eye on when it comes to the whole, I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but the whole Chinese drone thing. So that's one thing that we're monitoring. Some of our most advanced equipment right now, and actually the most advanced equipment, all these guys back here are all DJI drones, and it's a Chinese-made company. And with a potential ban coming on them, we are making sure to monitor to see, what is the counterpart to these, what do we have to implement, and it's something that's going to be again nationwide if it were to happen. But it's here or there. We don't know what's going to happen. But as far as cybersecurity, that's the closest it comes. The closest scare that we have. But yeah, right now it doesn't seem to be too much of a problem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tim asked in the comments, is this all stateside, or do you guys have pilots overseas as well that you manage?
Yeah, we have a few pilots overseas. We have some in Europe, some in Mexico. We have a good presence in Canada and in Puerto Rico as well. Still part of the States, but in even Hawaii, we have stuff going on in Hawaii as well.
Wow, that's awesome. So it sounds like you kind of manage just like a worldwide drone operators, which is insane. How do you
Yeah,
keep all your operators like connected within the company? Like obviously they're contractors, but do you guys in some way like talk to them or have a monthly thing with them or
Yeah, so we have pilot newsletters that we're constantly putting out every month and sometimes even a couple times a month in order to keep them aligned with trends in the industry. But I think the biggest advantage we have in terms of communication with these pilots is our mission coordinators. So we aren't the only company to do this, but what makes us different from the other companies is a white glove service. So where some companies fully automate everything, we actually have automation, but we still have a human presence. So we still have our mission coordinators assigned to every job so that when a remote pilot is having an issue on site, or if they're new and they're learning the ropes and trying to just have a better understanding, there's always someone for them to reach out to. So that first point of contact would be the mission coordinator who's overseeing the mission with them. But also that's primarily what my department handles and what I manage. So one of the things that we do is pilot support. So we offer pilot support, whether it's in-field support or in navigating our portal and making sure that they're set up properly. Now we provide support from end to end so that they're not just out there alone.
Okay, yeah. Going to the mission coordinators, could you kind of tell us what a day in life for them is? And are they nationwide as well, or are they just based in one spot?
So for as of right now, most of our mission coordinators are all based out of Louisiana and headquarters, but that's not to say that there isn't a potential for us to have mission coordinators across the a country. We also have what we're working on is kind of like I don't know how to say it. It's like a regional pilot, chief pilot. So we would have potential for drone pilots to have more internal drone pilots, and they would be in a specific region and spread out across the United States. And that would be the drone pilot that could assist other drone pilots around them. So we are looking into having more opportunities that are remote for Flyguys, but as of right now, most of the MCs are in office.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know because everybody, I don't know if you're talking about everyone in this call is they're all transitioning out of the military, so they're all in various places around the world, and a lot of them
Yeah.
are willing to travel. So I just wanted to kind of put it out there that there might be opportunities opening up in their area.
Yeah. Yeah, there is discussion of getting more. Right now, I think we have maybe about four internal pilots, and there has been some discussion about potentially hiring a good number of remote pilots, and that would be acting as a remote pilot, someone that's capturing the data, traveling. It could be, state to state within that region, but also overseeing, the other pilots and providing training and development. And so that's being discussed right now.
Okay. Say somebody
Yeah.
here really likes what you're talking about, but they don't have any drone experience, they don't have the equipment or the Part 107. Where is a good place for somebody to start to get into this industry?
Yeah, definitely. So a good place to start is definitely at that Part 107. There are many drone schools online. One of the ones we recommend the most is Pilot Institute. So Pilot Institute will provide you a full end-to-end course on learning for the Part 107. So essentially, you would just watch those videos, take in all the information, and you can take your Part 107. If you feel comfortable with reading, you can even read the manual and do that as well. I'm more of a visual learner, so I like videos, and it's very helpful that way. But yeah, as long as you get some sort of training for Part 107, I think it's like anywhere from $200 to $300, and anybody can just go to their nearest flight training school and take that Part 107. After you have that Part 107, you can commercially fly a drone and start making money. One of the things that is big in the industry right now, though, and one of the one mistake that we see new remote pilots make is the purchase of the equipment. So we have some pretty common standard drones, but then we have now enterprise drones. Enterprise drones are made for mapping, and a lot of the work that we're seeing in the industry right now is mapping and 3D modeling. So these other drones, these common drones are they're more price and cost efficient, but they lack a lot of the efficiencies for data capturing. So this drone could do it, but it might take 6 hours, where this drone was made for mapping, and this one may cost a little more, but it can get the job done in an hour and a half. So I think that getting that part 107, understanding what you want to do. Do I want to do marketing, photos and videos, or do I want to capture data, create maps, get into LiDAR? That's going to kind of show you the path you need to go. And there are many different industries that use this data, from telecommunications to land development to agriculture. Almost every major infrastructure and organization and industry is using aerial data and drone data right now. So
Yeah.
I think the mapping is a big one. If I were a new pilot coming into the industry, I would focus on the drone mapping.
Yeah. So if they get that Part 107 and they want to buy the equipment, are they able to make an account with you guys and sign up and get some advice on what equipment they should buy instead of buying it
Yes.
before and then risking getting the wrong
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah, totally. So I'm actually working on some resources right now. We've solidified a few partnerships with some companies, and essentially some of them we were able to set up discounts with. So we have a couple companies where you can purchase the equipment and get a 10% discount. And then we also have other financing companies we partnered with that specifically have business loans for drone companies. So they'll actually give you a business loan to purchase a drone, maybe purchase your Part 107, purchase software, whatever you may need. So we've solidified those relationships, we've set up those partnerships, and it's just a matter of marketing it. And we were actually going to be posting something soon, but we have all of those resources ready to go.
Okay. Are you comfortable with them reaching out to you on LinkedIn in case they want to get those resources?
Yeah, of course, please do. And in terms of the portal is 100% free. So once you have your equipment, once you have your Part 107, you simply come to the portal, you create an account, you fill out your personal information, you select your equipment, your boundary of interest, answer a questionnaire, go through the onboarding process, and you're ready to go. As soon as a job comes up in your area, you can start accepting the jobs.
Okay, that's awesome. Sounds super easy. Tim is back
Yeah.
with a question. I'll let him go real quick.
Okay.
Sweet. Do you guys do anything with tethered drones? I know there's a local company that I talk to, and they do tethered drones more so for like communications and surveillance. But what would that be applicable to anything that you do? I think they also use them for like some bridge survey type stuff. But
Yeah.
are most of the drones that you guys
Yeah,
incorporate non-tethered?
so it is pretty niche. So the purpose for tethered drones is for longer battery life, and I think that there are cases where it's supplying the power to the drone while it's being tethered, and that's essentially going to be beneficial for the longer flight time. Maybe it's got to be in the air for a couple of hours as opposed to its a limit with batteries, which is maybe around 30 minutes. So we don't see a whole lot of that because it's very niche, and usually an organization would kind of have their own internal team for something like that. And it's not often that network of pilots will buy a tethering system. They're getting drones, but I don't think a tethering system is at the top of their list. But something we do similar to this that would actually align very well with you guys is that we actually work with public safety. So it's not tethering drones, but we do have drones that work within a geofenced area. So essentially, we have remote pilots and even sometimes just as visual observers stationed on particular routes in major metropolitan cities. And they operate and just oversee a drone for many hours at a day. So they'll just be outside on a rooftop, monitoring a drone, swapping batteries, making sure everything's operating efficiently. But there's a police officer at the police station actually piloting that drone. So he would be piloting it from his computer monitor in the station. So that's one kind of a level of surveillance that we do and that we work with. But essentially, the drone pilot would be stationed, and it actually pays pretty well. All you would need is a remote pilot license. You don't even need to have equipment at that point. You just need to have a basic understanding and some experience with flying a drone in case you need to take manual control. But that's one form of surveillance that we do.
Did that answer your question, Tim?
Yep. Thanks.
Okay, great.
Awesome.
I was curious, is there anything that you can tell us about Flyguys that's coming up for 2026? Anything new
Yeah,
or exciting?
so yeah, we're continuing to grow some of the accounts that we have. We're a marketplace for drone pilots and we have a network of drone pilots, but that doesn't mean that these clients are working with other drone networks of drone pilots, but we're honing in on some accounts that we're the only drone pilot provider to these accounts. So we are expanding, we are growing, but we're also implementing new resources for pilots, so development resources, which is primarily what I do. So learning management systems, training videos, training documentation. So it doesn't matter what level of experience you have, you can come into the network and get that training, get that experience, and also if you have the equipment, you get that exposure to real world scenarios. We see a lot of times that it's hard for pilots to break into the industry and be able to gain that work on their own. But by working with a marketplace like us, you get more exposure to the many different types of captures in many different industries. One sensor and one drone does not apply to just one industry. That drone, that sensor can be applied to many different industries. It's just hard to break into each one on your own, and we help with that.
Okay, okay, interesting. I was
Yeah.
curious for if somebody that actually signed up and became one of your guys' pilots, is it you guys that send all the jobs to them, or are they able to go onto the website and pick each of their jobs? How does that
So
work?
yeah, they would receive an invite. So essentially, every time something comes up in their area that they kind of align with, if they have the right equipment to be able to perform that job, we would send an invite via text and via email, and then they can express their interest, and then from there we would assign them to the job.
Okay. Are there any jobs that are reoccurring? Like I remember when we talked, you said some get it annually, or do you have a lot of jobs like that?
Yeah, yeah. Right now we have a portfolio that I think it's quarterly. So it's the same locations. In some cases, it's 20 locations per pilot, same locations every quarter. So that's 4 times a year. So it's consistent work, consistent payout that you would receive every year. And if you perform well, we're gonna keep you on the same jobs. It's so much better for us to keep the same pilot that's performing well than to have to source a new pilot and so those are the missions we see that pilots like the most is the reoccurring ones.
Okay. Do you guys provide
Yeah.
any training? Because obviously they'll get their Part 107, so they'll know how to do it, but they're not going to be perfect at first. Does Fly Guys support or provide any training for them after they get their Part 107 before they start going to the paying jobs?
So we're in the process of standing up some training, and in terms of infield training, it could be a little further down the roadmap for the infield training, but we are working on a few programs like a shadow program where a new pilot could shadow another pilot that is on a mission. Yeah, so we have shadow programs, and also if you're anywhere within the vicinity of myself or one of our other colleagues or one of our remote pilots, we can definitely set something up where you can go shadow one of our internal pilots. But it is on the roadmap, but it's a little further down.
Okay. That'd be
Yeah,
super cool. I know that'd be super helpful for me if I was able to just go out and watch somebody else do it rather than going out on my own for the first time. Might be a little
definitely.
scary.
Yeah, and if this was something that you're very interested in and really looking to get into, I would highly suggest going out and buying, $100 to $150 drone that you can buy some swappable parts on and openly be able to just order them because it's a good way to learn how to fly. It's actually how I learned how to fly. It was a Christmas gift and it was a drone. This was 10 years ago, and the local hobby shop had motors and propellers and parts, and I would just go out and fly it and break it and fix it maybe like 5 to 6 times a week and buy more parts. And that's how I eventually developed skills. So you can definitely develop the skills for the basic understanding and maneuverability of a drone. And then from there, start to make your way into the industry. And at this point, we're to the point where flights are automated. So a lot of the mapping we do is actually we're pressing buttons and the drone's flying itself coming back home and landing itself. So a lot of it is fully automated. If you do have to take manual control, it's to, you know, deviate from an obstruction or, just make sure that you're not flying into anything. But yeah, for the most part, it's fully automated.
Okay. That's so cool. That's so much different
Yeah.
than it was the drone world was like 5 years ago or even last year.
Oh yeah, it's insane. Like these things are, their own robots, and now I think there's even some AI implemented into them.
Yeah, it's so crazy. They're being used in everything too. Like I feel like every realtor now is becoming drone pilot certified. It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, a lot of organizations are having their own drone pilots, and even like local cities and water districts. But there is a learning curve when you get to a certain point. When it gets to like very highly accurate maps that require the surveying, like we talked about earlier, or LiDAR and stuff like that. That's where you really need an expert pilot, someone that's kind of doing this 8 hours a day and actually knows what they're doing. But for the
Yeah.
most part, a lot of organizations do have, a couple people that know how to fly a drone and have a Part 107.
Yeah. Well, so what about Flyguys would make somebody want to go work with you guys rather than just kind of go do it on their own? What's the difference
So
there?
yeah, definitely. That's a good question. So again, like I mentioned earlier, breaking into the industry is very hard to do. There's a lot of small nuances that you kind of have to have aligned before getting clients and stuff like that. So you have to be able to have a proof of concept, some sample data sets, stuff like that. And a lot of pilots have the misconception of thinking I only need to buy the drone, but it
Mhm.
doesn't stop there. You actually need to buy the drone and then you need to buy a processing software. So the software to process this imagery. And now, annual cost could be anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 just for the software, on top of another 5 to 6,000 for the drone and equipment. So what we notice with our network of pilots is that they primarily want to capture data. They don't necessarily want to process as much as they are required to. They don't want to handle the administrative work. They don't want to, be client facing, do contracts and all of that. They just want to be out there flying their drone, and that's where we come into play. We handle all of that. We take on the responsibility. All we're client facing. We handle the administrative work. The pilot just gets assigned, gets to go out, fly their drone, capture the data, deliver the data, and get paid.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys handle all the hard work and they just get to do the fun part of
Exactly. Like that. Yeah, that is the fun part is you're out flying the drone, nice weather, just capturing data.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's all I had for you. If anybody else any questions, please raise your hand. Do you have anything else, Jeremiah, that you want to let them know about Fly Guys or about the whole world?
It's the industry is still fairly new. I mean, we've been around for a while, but honestly, I always feel like, okay, I think we're out of the infant stages, and then I quickly start to realize, oh no, we're still in the infant stages. And a lot of we get the question pretty often, am I too late to become a drone pilot? Am I too late to the show? Like, how saturated is it? And the question is, I mean, the answer is you're not late. There's still such a need for remote pilots, and again, many industries are just adopting it more often. And if you could just start now and start to learn the basics, even if you bought a drone and this was your side gig, you can make 500 to 1,000, extra 500 to $1,000 a month to doing this.
Yeah.
We have tons of pilots that have one of our CEO, he actually told us a story today. He's like, we got stopped at a convention and this remote pilot said, "Thank you guys so much. I put my kids through college because of you." And that's doing it on the side. So personally, myself, I was a network pilot at Flyguys when I was doing my own thing, and this was during COVID. And it started to get a little rough during COVID. And farmers they didn't have so much money to just throw out there at technology. And that's when Flyguys approached me and said, "Hey, do you want to come on full time as an internal pilot?" And here I am now managing a department, and the opportunities are endless in this industry, and you can go so far with it. There's so many different opportunities too outside of just piloting. Maybe you have experience processing GIS data or creating contour maps. All of this data is being used in software. So if you have any software experience, that's another outlet for you right there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A lot of these guys are retiring from the military, so they're looking for a little bit more of a low-key thing. They've already been working for the past 20 plus years. So I think this could be a really good position for them to just earn 500 to a couple thousand a month and have a little
Yeah.
extra money and relax.
Yeah, definitely. And it's not, there's a point where it could get a little bit labor intensive when we get into the LiDAR capture and stuff. But at the end of the day, you're still, if you like hiking, if you like being exposed to the elements and outdoor and also be able to be handling technology, this is like that perfect combination of all of that. And it's nice. It's nice. And you start to develop a passion for it. And there's no doubt that there's probably some people here that have maybe even thought about it already.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so we would be a great outlet for that. We're here to help with anything that you guys need. Getting started, any questions that you have, you guys can contact me directly.
Yeah, 100%. Let me throw your LinkedIn down there one more time. I put your website down there. I'm sure I'll get a couple people messaging you. Thank you so much for coming on and telling us
Of
about Fly
course.
Guys. It's such an interesting area.
Yeah, definitely. And we're excited to be growing and have new pilots in our network. We have about 120 pilots join our portal a week. So it's a nice community, and everybody's on board with each other trying to help out. And again, us Fly Guys as a resource to you guys, that would be a big step forward, and we're here for whatever you guys need.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jeremiah. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Go ahead and blow me up with whatever questions you guys have. I'm here to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I put his LinkedIn down there. I put the website. So based on the emotes, I'm sure everyone really appreciated you coming on. So
Awesome. Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
absolutely.